Greetings, everyone, and welcome to 4Point Pathways, our podcast where we talk about a wide range of different topics around forms and business processes and your organization. In the episode today, we're going to talk about signatures. Now, the first thing that many of you think when I say signatures, you think, oh, he's going to talk about digital signatures. Well, yes, I am, but I'm also going to talk about signatures as a much broader concept. One of the challenges that we face when we start talking organizations is, well, I can't go online. I can't move this stuff online because there's a signature involved. I need this signature. And a lot of people then default, well, hold on, let's do digital signatures. But there's actually simpler solutions in a lot of cases. You see, what we find out when we look at the forms that organizations are using with their users, with their customers today, and we look at the signatures that are being required on those, and let's just walk through what the process is so that we're clear on what you're doing to your customers. And notice how I said that, what you're doing to your customers, because it's something you're doing to them. You're making them do things that they shouldn't have to do. They don't want to do. You say, here's the form that you need to change your address in our system. Oh, okay, that's great. So I need to download that form. All right, okay. Now it's a fillable PDF because that was good on you. So you put a fillable PDF on. So they then type in their old address and they type in their new address, but that form requires a signature. So then they have to print that. Then they have to physically sign it. Then they have to scan it. Then they have to email it back to you, where it gets routed inside your organization and somebody gets it and looks at it and goes, all right, for this person, let me look up their information. Yes, that's their old address. Okay, I will enter their new address. And then that image, that document gets archived as a record. That's a lot of work for the user just to do simple tasks. All right. And we do this constantly for things that don't require signatures. And why? It's because it's a legacy. It was the way that we did it. And what if that person said, I didn't change my address? Okay. And you say, well, yeah, but I've got a thing. And they go, that's not my signature. Because you never checked it. You never looked at it. There's no way for you to compare it against anything else. So it only becomes then a post scenario that afterwards. Well, what would you do now if somebody came online and the address was changed? They said, that's not my address didn't change. Somebody else changed my address. You'd say, well, did you log in here? And they go, yeah, I logged in. Okay, but I didn't change the address. Or no, that's not my login. So you would control it in that manner. And what you would do is change it back once they demonstrated they are who they say they are and that. The reason why we put signatures on documents in the past is because we were trying to solve multiple different kinds of problems. We're trying to solve problems of authentication. We want to know that this person is the person who they say they are. We want to have a mechanism for validation and approval, saying this person acknowledges and has explicitly acknowledged that they understand what they're doing, that they have read this document, they've read these terms and conditions, they accept what we're doing. And then the last one is what we classify as non-repudiation, that I can't at a later date go, no, I didn't do that. And well, this is your signature. I might have to take you to court and we might have to get you to sign multiple things to compare or show other documents, but this is your signature. And that's why we use signatures, because it was the only mechanism we had. But today we have many, many other mechanisms, right? Think of scenarios where you accept a license agreement. Well, you check a box and then you check it and then it pops up a dialogue that says, are you sure you accept this? Yes, I do. Well, all of those steps are designed to demonstrate that you knew what you were doing, you accepted it, you were given the opportunity to read that and all those kind of things. Take other traditional industries where signatures were a standard part of it. And we'll take finance as an example. Okay, used to be years ago is you would use your credit card to pay for a dinner and a document would come, the receipt that was printed out, or if you're old enough, you remember the clack, clack, okay, across the multi-copy form. And then you would press hard 3 copies and they would pull the center one and that would be your copy. But even that was flawed because how often did the server actually compare your signature on there? Well, if they were suspicious of you, maybe, but Other than that, no, they didn't do it. They didn't check it. And then eventually that went away. We were signing the receipts and this is your copy. But what if you didn't sign it? Oh, wait, you still got charged. They didn't need the signature to charge you. Okay, right? So what was it for? Well, non-repudiation. If you said, I didn't pay for that, the merchant said you did, well, the banks just waved their hands and went, you know what? That's not such a big deal. We can just write half of that off. So let's just stop that. And with chip and pin, okay, then we don't even have to do that now. Now I have a different authentication mechanism. I have a unique identifier that's linked to the card. I put that in, I type in my unique identifier. It knows those two things are together and it can process the transaction. Same used to be when you needed money out of the bank. You'd walk into the bank, you'd have to fill out a form. You'd have to fill out a transaction slip, which was how much money do I want? And let's sign it. Okay, you take it up. They go, oh, okay. All right. They might ask you for ID. Okay. Are you who you say you are? Oh, well, you got your bank card. That's fine. We can do that. Or maybe a driver's license if you're somewhere else. Okay. Maybe they ask you for ID, but all they're doing is comparing that you are the person associated with that account. Did they ever check the signature? Well, probably not. Could they check the signature? Even if they have it online, even if they could go and compare the signatures now. Well, the last signature my bank has online, I signed when I was 16, and it exists in a completely different branch. So physically they can't. If it's online, they can, but it's changed a lot in those decades. So it ain't going to look the same. So that's not an authentication mechanism. Again, it becomes a non-repudiation. But now we go to an ATM, again, chip and pin, but we go to an ATM, we do that kind of a thing. So we don't have to fill out these forms. We don't have to do that. There's a lot of examples where both technology, but both an understanding of what the signature is being used for and a recognition that we don't actually need that to address the operational problem we're trying to solve. Again, used to be, I would fill out an expense form internally. I have to sign it because we need that document. Well, I don't sign them anymore. Nobody does. Okay, because we have systems that handle that, and you logged into the system and it knows who you are. So if we can transfer those mechanisms, we could do the same with our users, with our customers. So one of the first things that we encourage people to do when they're talking about documents, forms, and signatures is, do I really need that signature? Is that signature actually producing a binding scenario? There are only a handful of cases where what's called a wet signature, a physical signature, is required on a document. If you're a doctor and you're signing a birth certificate or a death certificate, yep, that needs a physical signature. If you're doing things that are absolute critical life events, okay, a will, yes, we want a signature associated with that. If you're notarizing documents, yes, you should often be doing physical signatures. However, there's new technology and new rules that are allowing for notarization with digital signatures and combining those things together. So there's a lot of interesting changes that are going on. But for the vast majority of your business operation with your customers, with your partners, with your associates, the physical signature is not required. Now, what if a signature really is required and we don't want to do physical signatures? Then that's when digital signatures should come into play. And digital signatures are much, much stronger than physical signatures. They do a lot more and they do it way better. And they're integrated into your business process. So now we're dealing with data and data presentation, and now we're dealing online. So we improve the user experience, we save you time and money, we make it easier for your people and for your user, and we get a better, more secure document. Let me explain how that works. So when you sign a document, let's say a PDF, so a PDF is generated, it's handed to you an email that says you have to sign this. So then you go in and you say, okay, I'm going to sign it. And you type in a visual representation, or on the mobile device, you scribble with your finger. And then you say, I want to sign this. This applies a digital certificate to that document. What effectively it does is it wraps that document so that if there's any changes to that document, you know that that's a change to the document, that you know somebody has tampered with that. You could send a copy of that digital signed version, okay, to anyone who needs it. So now the user gets it, the customer gets it, you got a copy of it. Okay, you have non-repudiation because they can't deny it because there's a tag, there's information, metadata associated with it. If any of that changes, we know. So there's a lot of value associated that for those kinds of things that really should have a signature. But then we look at it, we go, well, but there's a cost associated with this. Yes, there is. Okay, but there's also better user experience and lower operational costs. So let me tell you a story in closing. So recently, just last week, okay, I had the liner in my pool replaced. It was 18 years old. It was falling apart, needed to be replaced. And so I had my pool guys. Okay, so it's a 50-person organization. They work in my local area. I've had them for years. Okay, fantastic folks. And they came in and they did all of the pool replacement. While they're doing that, they do an assessment of the interior once they remove the old liner. And they go, oh, yeah, the walls are good. The concrete is good. My lights in the pool had burnt out and broken. The physical mountings were broken. They said, well, do you want to replace those or do you want us to just patch them? I said, no, I want to replace. They said, okay, do you want the normal lights? Do you want the LED lights? I said, what's the price difference? Oh, yeah, okay, I want the LED lights. And they said, great. Okay, while I'm talking, okay, the gentleman is tapping on his iPhone. Okay, and then when I said, yeah, send me the quote on the LED lights, 2 LED lights, complete replacements so that I've got them all brand new and I've got fresh lights with my new fresh liner in the new fresh pool. He presses a button. My phone in my pocket dings. I open it up. The quote is already in my email. Better. When I pull up that quote, it goes, press here to approve this quote. And I digitally signed it on my mobile device and pressed it so that it went back to him. He could see that it was responded to. Now somebody's going to call me to get a down payment on that so that they can order it and they'll install it in the spring. If a 50-person organization can use digital signatures to improve their business process with no movement of paper documents, no need to sign anything, everything laid out. I've got a copy of the PDF quote that I can see with all the details and a picture of the lights that I'm ordering, all of that on there. Why can't you do that? Why can't you do that for your customer? Because that is what I'm expecting when I work with a bank, when I work with an investment company, when I work with an insurance company, when I work with the government. That's what I want from an experience. That's what your customers want from an experience. If they can give it to them and they're just a little company, just pools, okay, why can't you do that? You can. All the technology is out there, all the capabilities. All you need to do is say, I want to do this. And what we're going to do is go, okay, these ones don't need signatures. These ones do. And here's the technology that we're going to put in place. So thank you very much for listening. Really appreciate it. If you've got any questions, let us know. And we'll talk in the next episode about accessibility and forms. Thanks so much.